Hello and welcome to this Christian Walk, the podcast that has no topic that's too taboo to empower you on your walk with God. I'm your host, Marley B, and it's my privilege to welcome you to the conversation. And today we have a good one. We are going to tackle a topic that has triggered much debate at many a dinner table. And I know what you're thinking, but it's not Mayo versus Miracle Whip. Instead, we're going to talk about megachurch versus smaller church. Which is the better experience? Should be a good one. So let's get into it. Sobo, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And just to first, kind of introduce you, right? Mm-hmm. So you're 39 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you enjoying the last year of your 30s?
Man, it was funny. My daughter had to explain to me that I was turning 40 next year. However, she said it last year. Like, it's funny. She said it last year, but in my mind, I'm thinking still school system year. So the year for me did not happen until August.
Okay.
Whereas, it starts January for everybody else. So last year when she said, you're 40 next year, and I'm like, no, I'm 39 next year.
Really?
It took a minute for me to gather my thoughts in reference to it. I think that day I had a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'm really turning 40.
So you get it now, though. You back to that.
That's the reason for the hair growing out. I'm trying to do 25-year-old things right now. I'm trying to, little quarantine fun with the gray hairs, and I might cut it when I turn 40.
Hey, if it can work for interest, you can pull it off too. Like, it's nothing wrong with a little salt and pepper.
And just
rock it, age gracefully.
And if I can get a beard, oh man.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see how. We'll see. I know you've been trying to make that happen. We're gonna see if that happens. So we know that you about to say bye to the 30s, right? You're a dad.
I'm a dad. Yes.
Yes. You are a podcaster.
I am a podcaster. The Shameless Plug, Hypocritically Incorrect, is my podcast. Look us up on YouTube, Instagram. That's my shameless plug. Oh,
no shame. Shout out to Maurice and Jay.
Yeah.
Y'all be having me cracking up. So
I appreciate it. It's definitely a work in progress, but it'll keep going.
Yes.
It'll grow.
Well, I know you usually discuss pop culture and things of that nature, so I know this is probably a little bit outside your wheelhouse, and I appreciate you stretching yourself and coming out on here with me.
But we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna discuss some things. What you say? Mega church versus the
smaller church.
Smaller church.
Right. So mega churches are the churches where they are 2,000 or more people are coming every week. So when I looked it up, CNN defined that as the mega church. 2,000 or more attending every week, right? That's considered the mega church, right?
Okay.
But, it's some that's like a little bit less than that. But I know you were saying, we've talked about this topic before.
Right.
And which is why I'm like, okay, I want to have that conversation again. Other people need to hear this.
I'm with it.
And so what your stand on it, right? So
I
prefer the smaller or the
I prefer the smaller community church.
Okay.
Now, I will prefix our conversation because in me trying to do my research and everything and trying to gather the thoughts of the masses.
Oh, you studied up.
I tried to a little bit. I did more studying for this than I do for my own podcast. I lie to you not. I let whatever come to my mind fly out my mouth for my podcast.
I hear it.
I had to come up with a thought process, a thesis, if you will, in reference to my plight with the mega church versus the smaller community church.
Okay.
I will start off or prefix the conversation with, I've changed my views a tad bit.
Okay.
However, I'm still with the verses. I'm still with the verses behind it. But I can almost see the pros and cons on both ends.
Okay.
I can definitely see the pros and cons. But for Darryl, Bowdie, John Doe? Oh, no. We're going to the community church. Community church all day.
So the community church meaning the smaller
church? The smaller church, right.
Okay.
And I call it community church because the most times those churches are in communities.
Okay.
Where they're able to reach out and help the constituents of that neighborhood. I feel like you lose a lot of that quote-unquote hometown feel or that neighborhood feel when you go to a mega church.
So you're saying that you don't believe that mega churches support the community?
I feel like the mega church might support the community of their home base. Now, when you get the satellite and everything else out, I think that's up to the associate minister of said location to do so. But I don't think it's as big or as, I don't want to say as worthy. I don't think it's as much put into it as the community church does.
Okay.
When you have that community church, you have summer programs. Those kids in the neighborhood can walk to the church. They can do that. I remember growing up, I went to a smaller church and it was an African themed thing, camp Umanji or Umanjo or something like that. It was supposed to mean community or something like that. But it was the fact that I was able to walk from my house to the church every day for camp. That Sunday, boom. I don't know that you have that same field of community type things with the mega churches. Or if so, I haven't seen it or heard of it.
See, and I think that's the thing, right? Because I think that people have this perception locked in based off of, just what they heard in certain situations, right? Because I happen to have grown up in a storefront church, like, for real. Before, like, the paint job happened, you can actually see the old store name on the side of it, okay? And then, that was a Baptist church. I grew up there, I grew up in that church. I loved it, you know what I'm saying? I love the feel of it. But, since I've been older, you know what I'm saying? I attend a church that's larger, and it has multiple locations, and I feel like in that church is where I really got in depth with my relationship with God, right? In the smaller church, I was programmed to go to church. I was one of those people like, every week we're going to church, that's just it, right? Easter, it's time for that speech, get it together. It's, every week, every whatever is going on, whether it's Easter, whether it's Christmas, it was like the same reel.
The same routine, right.
Yeah. And then, but when I got into the larger church, that's when I kind of learned the difference between going to church and used to going to church versus having and building a relationship with God, right? I found that in the larger church. And ironically, I felt like the teachings there spoke to me more. Now, it's possible because I was older.
That was going to be my first question. Do you feel like age or maturity had anything to do in reference to that?
Because I feel like that has something to do with it.
Because like you said, when we're younger, we're programmed to go to church. We were speaking earlier, and I feel like church and that type of Christian household, going to church is beat into you as much as going to college after you graduate high school. You're going to do these two things growing up in this household right here. As we get older, we start to realize, well, there are different avenues to get to the same location, the same destination at the end of the day.
And when you say the destination, what do you mean by that?
Your relationship with the good Lord. Or college money, salary at the end of the year, so many different, avenues to get to where you want to be in reference to things. I think the getting beat in reference to going to church or having it beat into your head, more so to say.
So you feel like it's like a brainwashing type of thing?
To a certain extent, yeah. I'm like, because that's all you know. Every Sunday, we could probably sit here and me and you are from two totally different places, and me and you can probably count down what every day of the week does in reference to a smaller church. Mega church doesn't give you that.
What you mean as far as like what it offers?
So Sunday is church. When's Usher Board meeting?
Well, I'm not on the Usher Board, right?
You didn't know anything about it when you was at the smaller church? They speak about this on announcements every Sunday. We got this meeting this day. We got this that day. Bible study is on that Good Wednesday. Usher Board meeting might be that Saturday beforehand. I was on the choir, so we had choir rehearsal the Saturday before the church. If we had a concert, you was there every day.
Yeah, but like we have announcements, right? I mean, it's just not a person standing up reading off a piece of paper anymore, like it was when I was growing up, right? But they're on a screen, technology and all of that has evolved.
So let's dissect that. So when you have your announcements at this mega church, do y'all have a sick and shut-in list? Like, do we send people out there to go check on the sick and shut-in?
Yes, there are ministers on call to take care of that type of thing.
Ministers on call.
Do they list everybody on the sick and shut-in list every Sunday? No. And I'm glad that they don't because the game is on.
I understand that thought process.
And, get about an hour, hour and a half. Because back in the day, we would also complain about being in church 3 or 4 hours.
I definitely agree with that. We were younger.
Yeah.
We had things to do. I was ready to go home and go outside and play.
Yeah.
It was different. I don't think church lasts as long now as an adult. Now it might be the same time frame. I really don't know. Because we're older now.
It's definitely shorter. It is definitely shorter, and I appreciate the promptness of my pastor and keeping it up, keeping it, because it don't take all day.
It doesn't. So with this sick and shut-in list, is it the pastor, or you said the associate minister? So it's not the first lady like you got at your smaller church?
No.
And I guess what I'm getting at is I don't feel like the larger churches or the mega churches has that camaraderie in reference to this is my Christian family. When I have my Christian family, I walk into this church and I know the first lady. I know her children. I know the choir director. I know the deacons. I know the individuals in that church. It gives more of a family type of setting. I can't have a Christian family with 15,000 people. How many people you say go a week?
Yeah, up to 2,000 or more for a mega church. Even if it's hundreds going every week, I mean, that's a lot of people to know.
That's a lot of people to know, and it doesn't give you that same...
So is my pastor bad? Is he a bad person? Am I unable to learn from his teachings because he don't come to my house every time we open up a can of green beans?
I'm like, granted, pastor ain't never came to my house either. Like, I don't think we had that open door policy with the good Lord. We were still fixing things within our Christian walk,
Okay.
Okay. However, I think my thing is, I do want my pastor to know my name. I feel like if I'm a shepherd in your flock, or if I'm a sheep in your flock, I got to get my church terms down.
Yeah.
If I'm a sheep in your flock, and you're my shepherd, and you're supposed to be leading me to this promised land, I need you to know my name. I need you to know who I am. If we just happen to be walking around in the church on a good day, and you're not at the pulpit, church is over, I'm walking through because I'm trying to find my mother one night, and you walk past me, I need it not to seem so impersonal. I need it to be like, well, hey, Bowdie, how you doing today? What'd you think about the service? Not a high and by like we two strangers, like I just didn't sit here and listen to you preach for the last hour either. I don't think you're going to get that at a mega church. So
you don't think that a person that doesn't know your name can offer you a warm welcome? I'm not going to say he can't offer me a warm welcome, but it's going to be impersonal. It's no different than you giving somebody a warm welcome at the grocery store and y'all happen to be passing by the aisle. Y'all are both looking at the same thing. Hey, I like your hair, man. You know what? Thank you. You know, I hope you're doing well today. I've had plenty of pleasant interactions with people I've never known, people I will never know or see again, and I had lasting impressions with these people. And they don't know my name. I don't know their name. You don't go see them every Sunday either, though. True this. They're not preaching to you about what you should be doing in reference to your relationship with the good Lord. If we hold this individual at a higher pedestal than what I have to carry the regular person, then I need you to know who I am. I just feel like that can be a little bit much, right? Because you feel like if you're not able to, so I just feel like you're holding the church to a point to where it can't grow, because one person can't be held responsible for knowing the names of hundreds and thousands of people. I mean, but that person may have a real anointing from God that hundreds and thousands of people can benefit from. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, but if he don't know my name, I shouldn't get a chance to get what I can get through, that God is trying to give through this person. You know what I'm saying? Just because he don't know my name. So let's take it out of the church for a minute. Let's say we have a child at a school, and the principal there knows everybody. She has, let's say, kindergarten up to the 6th grade. She knows all of her students. She knows her staff. She knows her students. And we look at that principal like she's really involved with her craft, with her work, with her passion, with her career, her position. I've often heard with, I guess, some political views in reference to everything that's going on in the world, that we need to have more police officers that walk the neighborhood beat. Yes. I've often been told that back in the day, give it the environment or the inner city that you grew up in, you had a police officer that walked the beat, and he knew everybody on his patrol, on his block, in his neighborhood. If we can hold everybody else to that same standard, and these are the things that we want, and I'm supposed to be looking at you to get me to the promised land. My pastor did not know my name, and he did, and just his teachings was changing my life, though. You know, I love YouTube, right? So I go and I listen to pastors from different places. I get messages from these people. They don't know my name, but I have been enriched. You know what I'm saying? And my walk has been more, made clearer because, I'm learning from these people that don't know my name. So I just feel like that's a hang up.
It's a hang up to a certain extent, and almost in the event that, I'm like, I can't, I'm not a pastor, I can't judge. I don't know what their day to day.
Could you imagine? Can you imagine?
Can I imagine it? I would love to see it. I would say that. I would definitely love to see it as a parent when I see my kids go to school or we go to a school function and I see people recognizing who you are. They speak your name. It makes me feel like, okay, well, you're paying attention. You know who's here. When I go to work, and like I say, I work for a heat and air conditioner company. We're like right up under 500 employees. But for this president of this company who walks around with us, for him to say, hey, Bowdie, how you doing today? Man, man, wonderful weather we're having. We have a real live conversation about everything that's under the sun. Get past the weather. We speak about everything that's under the sun. It seems just a little bit more personal. It feels like, okay, you're not just employing me. You're not just helping me pay my bills. No, you actually know what bills I have.
Right.
You know what I have going on.
Because y'all are together every single day. Almost, or 5 days out there.
At least 5 days of the week, and I may not see him all 5 days, you know? And even more so for my technicians or plumbers that I have out in the field, they only come into the office once a week, but he knows everybody by name.
Some people just have that gift, though. I find it amazing, right? As a leader of people myself, like, it's amazing. Sometimes I just have to default to, hey, baby. You know what I'm saying? Hey, sugar.
And I also say, I don't even think it's an issue for me with just the mega church, the smaller church as well. I think one of the last church families I was a part of, I think they knew me and my siblings' name because my mother was the church secretary.
Okay.
So, that's Gwen's son.
Yes.
But you only know me when I'm cutting up.
Yeah.
You don't speak to me when I'm doing all right. Now, when I'm cutting up in the back row of church.
Yeah.
Going, your son back there, he was acting up.
Not the back row.
Oh, yeah.
I know what
if you can't sit on that back, you ain't got no back row in no mega church. There ain't no cutting up on that back row. It don't give you that same feel behind it.
I get that. But okay, so just think about this, right? So let me ask you this. So have you ever been a member of a larger church?
No. I think the church that I was a member of, it's a Charlotte-based church. I would probably say I can't give you a number, because like I said, I was younger growing into it, and I think as often as I hear in other households, man, as long as you're under my roof until you 18, you're going to go to church when I say you're going to church.
Right.
At 18 and a Sunday in, I'm sick of this. I ain't going. You can't make me go to church no more.
You was rebelling.
Oh, man, very much so.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, at times I've been back to the church, and it was more so like I got everything that I needed that day. More so even getting older, you understand, well, Sunday's the beginning of the week, you need to go ahead and feed your soul before you feed everything else as far as the BS of the world. Get your mind and everything right.
Right. And to me, that's that going to church mentality, right? You go because you can tell it makes your week better, right? But when you get into that point when you're in relationship with God, you need that every day, right? And once you get and when you got a good pastor that's teaching you how to go get it for yourself every day, you know what I'm saying? That's the difference, right? And that's what I was getting more so at the church that I'm at now, right? And then as a person that goes to kind of a larger church, it's not one of those stadium churches, but it's a pretty large church.
So it's not like one of those satellite locations of a mega church.
It can get a little satellite-ish. A little satellite-ish.
Satellite-ish, satellite-ish. I like ish.
Okay, we'll go ish. Okay. So, but, they encourage small groups, right? Okay. So, I'm a member of the singles ministry, right? Okay. And while, I went to, I was one of those persons, I don't have kids, I don't have a husband, so I know how to go in right in enough time, grab a seat. I know how to, kind of gauge it to where right before so I can leave out, so I don't have to get caught in the traffic of leaving out. I had mastered that, right? But as I continued to grow, and go to the church, I've been at the church probably about 12 years, right? So I done grew into the point where, in my faith and in my walk and in my relationship with God, right? So when you grow in that, you want a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? When you get closer to it, you want a little bit more, right? And so I got into the singles ministry, right? And that put me in a smaller group of people that I got more of an intimate connection with, right? That's when I got into embracing the community, right? You had given me that family feel, right? The family feel is there, but it's not so much the family feel. You know what I'm saying? I can't say I go in, if we went, I can braid these people here. It's not like that, but I feel the sense of community, right? kingdom community is important, right? That's what I'm an advocate for, right? And that's something that I found at the larger church, in the smaller groups. Now,
Larger
it's hard
church and the
to
smaller groups. Okay,
you know what
I
I'm
can
saying?
see that.
It's utilizing those groups that are within the church, and they encourage them. You know, a lot of the larger
Do we
churches,
feel like they encourage them because they know it may be hard, or you can get lost in the
every Sunday
sea
yeah.
of everything that they
yeah,
have
if
going
you
on?
only doing the Sunday thing,
Right.
you only gonna get the Sunday. You know, it's gonna be limited.
On the flip side, what I will say that I do like about the mega church, I don't want to seem like I'm just anti-mega church or whatnot. I like the convenience of them.
Okay.
I feel like they are very convenient, and not more so because of the satellite locations, or the fact that you can pull it up online, or the fact that you can turn on the TV and see particular pastors or whatnot, or what do you call them, pastors, reverends, or preachers?
All of
them, right.
Yeah.
Because I still have yet to understand the difference in the titles. I'm working on that. In reference to going to a mega church, I feel like the convenience of it is very much so there. But it was a conversation that I had with somebody the other day when I was trying to do my research on it, and they brought up the thought process of it being theatrical. Whereas when you have your smaller churches, they go with a lot of hell, fire, and brimstone. The wrath of the Lord.
The fear-mongering.
At its best, it's what it is.
Yes.
The fear-mongering behind it, whereas when you go to a mega church, they are opening the arms and welcoming everyone in the essence of love. It's just what it is. And when he brought it up to me, he had made a statement in reference to, well, do you think they're playing to their audience? Or whether that's just really what they truly believe in reference to it.
And do you think that?
When I break down, I guess to say the... I want to use a big word. I don't know.
Go for
it. When I break down the context in reference to everything it is that they have going on in reference to the mega church and the smaller church, and the teachings and the lessons in reference to it, I think, at the Baptist churches that I've been to growing up, be it was my own personal church, or the churches we went to go visit, being on the usher board or the choir board or things of that nature, it was a lot of fear. It was a lot of, you better get your stuff together. Like, I thought Pastor was going to curse a couple times the way he was talking about the hell and the fire, and, he don't like that.
Yeah.
Whereas, I've never seen a mega church minister get angry. I've never... I don't want to call anyone out, but I see one smile all day, man, and he just smiles and he smiles and he smiles. I want the name of his dentist. He smiles so much and so well. It's like...
Well, can't a brother have the joy of the Lord? What's...
None of them get angry, though.
That's not true now.
I haven't seen not one mega church individual get angry on that pulpit.
Well, let's be...
What happened to the fire and brimstone?
Well, that happened at your old childhood church, so you got to go back there if you want to get fired and brimstone.
Even as an adult, they still... I'm fearful of certain things now.
There are mega churches that are real about hell and the consequences of not believing in God. That's it, right? But you have some churches that will just say, hey, if you do this, you're going to hell. If you do that, you're going to... Salvation is just the first step, okay?
Okay.
And if you believe... you don't got to worry about hell. And so if we talking to believers, hell is out of you're a believer, so we don't got to go in a whole lot of hell ranks, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about what you can do in this life to have a high quality of life and still earn rewards in the next life. And that's about love. It's about grace. It's not about fire and brimstone. That's not what God is about. And see, that's the misconception that a lot of, not so much just smaller churches, but just old-timey ways. You know what I'm saying? And then that's why a lot of, and I appreciate a lot of the newer, age preachers who are reintroducing God as who he is. God is about love. He's not about hate. He don't want to destroy you, right? He wants the best for you. He wants everything. He wants more for you than you want for yourself, whether you believe it or not.
And it's funny that you even brought it up in that essence as far as the old school way of preaching more so than the new walk. Because I did speak to a couple of older people in or seasoned rather, in reference to my thought process of, well, did you like the mega church or the smaller church? And I think a lot of them didn't like it because it was, I don't want to say too accepting of everything, but...
Accepting.
Too accepting of everything for them. And more so... I guess in reference to the whole walk in love.
Mm-hmm.
I think they understand that thought process, but it's too different for them. I think if that thought process.
Ooh, that is great.
It's too different.
But see, those are also the same people that want to keep gay people out of church. They want to keep,
right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's not right, because God sent Jesus for us all.
Right.
Okay? And so and people need to get that. And I feel like the church needs to get that. Okay?
Yeah.
Jesus died for us all. Not just for who you think should
deserves
be.
to go.
Exactly.
and I think that's probably a bigger issue that I feel like I've come into I guess, conversation with doing my polls and speaking with everybody in reference to the difference between the mega church and the bigger church, well, mega church and the community church rather, is a lot of people favor the mega church because of just that. There's so many smaller community churches that are ran by so many older people who are so stuck in a older, elder time frame where their thoughts and their beliefs will definitely turn a looking soul away.
Yeah.
It will turn that person who's looking for some type of guidance or salvation
exactly.
all the way away, and then you'll realize, or then you'll question, well, why are we losing members? Well, why aren't these individuals coming to the church? We can't reach out to the community because we're not as open to the community. So again, I told you from the beginning, it's going to be contradicting.
Yeah.
And it goes back and forth.
Because I feel the shift in your thinking.
It's definitely a shift in certain matters of things, and I feel like, again, I like it for these smaller things. I like it for the smaller setting, the hometown feel. But just as you said, I'm like, if you got involved in a bigger church, you can get that when you get into your different groups and your different things or whatnot. Now,
I believe that you can get something out of a church that does not have a fountain in the sanctuary.
So many different thoughts went through my mind in this fountain in the sanctuary. I'm like, you know what? So it brings up another thought process for me. When you go to one of these bigger churches and well, do the bigger churches baptize people? Like,
yes.
Who does it?
My church does it, and my pastor does the baptizing.
He's there.
He is there. He is dipping. Now, I don't know. I don't know too much. It's not too much dipping happening right now in the pandemic. But when the pool is open again, my pastor will be doing the dipping.
Because those are things that bothered me. Like, I remember, I'll never forget it. I went up there to go get saved. It was on a Sunday night. It was a big old Broadway production. You know who was down there? Was a lot of church singing. There was a lot of clapping, you know. And Reverend L.D. Parker, he had me at the top of the thing because where their pool was at was like over. It looked over the congregation, over the pool pit, everything. You had to go up some stairs and everything. And they had like a little pool right there.
Okay.
So he told me to cross my hands. He asked me a couple of questions. And he was getting ready to dip me back. And it was like, whoa. How long are you going to keep me up under this water? Because I have a fear of water. Like, even now as an adult, like, I've never been on a cruise. It's something about all this water. You know, I can't swim as well. And I was young, so I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, how long are you going to keep me up under this water? He got ready to do it again. I had like 2 or 3 questions for him. And he said, Darryl, he called me by my gun. He said, Darryl, a mega church person can't do that to me. I like you know who I am. I don't want to keep going back to know my name. That might be my biggest hangover. I know you are definitely
very Beyonce with this.
I need you to know my name, but I think it's just more so the intimate feel that you get with going to a smaller church, and not even more so just by me having an intimate feel with the other members of the congregation. More so the leader of this flock. I think that's probably my biggest thing. I think my second thing in reference to it is, again, I don't know that I want to say that they're theatrical in reference to a bigger church or
because you know there are theatrics in small churches.
There are theatrics in small churches, and after we've discussed it a little bit, the wiping of the forehead and all that, maybe so, I don't know. At one point somebody didn't think he was preaching unless you did all that. I'm like, he ain't into it. He ain't doing it.
And you know, and I like that it is more teaching in the larger church.
I do wholeheartedly, thoroughly enjoy that. I think in the event that when I was pulling them up on YouTube and everything like that, I said I wasn't going to name any names, but there's an associate minister who has his own church now, and I like him. I do like him. You know, he's human. He's a man. He does things.
They all are.
They all are. But you know, I don't want to say I like to see somebody mess up a little. It lets me know you're human, you know, and you
so you
own
like,
that.
That's my pastor right there. The
Man, you know what?
But you know what? All of them are flawed. Because we're all human. They're all flawed.
Yeah, but some flaws just ain't out there on Main Street like other flaws are, and I feel like experience is our best teacher. I can't come speak to somebody who ain't never been through nothing and expect this person to walk me through anything that I'm going through if you've never been there.
And it's more transparency, right?
Yeah.
Right, and I feel like that's what has helped me to feel like, because like even though I've never had a meal with my pastor or anything like that, but through his teaching, like I said, I've been there so many years, I've heard about his life, I've heard about his experiences, and I've learned from them. You know what I mean? And so I feel like I know that about him because he's been, you know, transparent like that. Right. And I think that, you know, not every church is going to be like that. And it is important that you find the ones for you. But I think the important lesson in this talk and on this walk, right, is that we find the church that where we feel that God is calling us to be in. Right? True. And then if we're closed-minded and closing our hearts to the fact that if is this the pastor's Benz out here, and then I can't go.
That's funny because that was definitely a dislike for me. Oh my gosh!
I mean, but all of that stuff is a distraction.
It is. It was a big distraction.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I want my pastor to be successful because guess what? If that's my covering, you know what I'm saying, and I see what God is doing for you, that same God can do it for me.
So before I let it go, do you feel like anything in reference to the mega church and reference, or I guess versus the smaller church, is anything ego driven in reference to the things that the mega church ministers or pastors have? Whereas I've always looked at my pastor of my homegrown church as a very humble individual, and I don't really like the word humble, but a very humble, meek individual. You know, those old school ministers, they have what they need to sustain. They got what they got going on.
But you got to be careful not to generalize, right? Because you can speak about yours, right? But you know, it's some ones that are not.
I can say that. I remember my pastor passed away, and I remember seeing my pastor's car. He had a old Cadillac Fleetwood, you know, one of them long boat Cadillacs. Don't even make them no more. And the first lady, she had a Buick. And I was like, this is all right.
Right.
And you know what? And the funny thing is, I don't even think that I ever took notice of it until the new minister came. And he had this big boy Benz outside. I'm looking at this man Benz, and I done gave you my tithe and worship, and I'm trying to make sure that I got bus fare to make it through the rest of the week. And I'm walking back home, and I'm looking at you drive by in this Benz. You ain't know my name. You know what I'm talking about? You drove by, you ain't honked the horn, you ain't do nothing, and I just left your church. I felt a whole lot of way about it. I just felt like it just wasn't, it wasn't humbling for me. To see you and your Benz.
So I'm going to invite you back when we have a conversation about tithing, because I feel your church hurt brewing up there about tithing. You feel some kind of way about that?
I do.
And that's something that I don't even want to mess with that right now, because I already know how deep that can get. Because tithing, that's another level. But I don't want to go too far with that, right? I won't go too far with that. But as far as your initial question about the ego. The ego, I think the ego, you can find the ego anywhere. You know, have you seen, you done seen somebody that was looking busted, you know, no money, no job, need a ride, all of that, and will have an ego.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think that egos is something that you got to check, just like other characteristics. And some people going to be good at it, and some people are going to be bad at it. But I don't think it should be equated to big church or little church, or paid pastor or struggling pastor. You know, I don't think that's the thing. You know, has it been some poor pastors that lost their way, or was a false prophet? Yes. It hasn't been some ones that were, you know, rich doing the same thing? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Find the home that's best for you, right? find the church, whether it's big or small, that you find God in, that you can grow in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That you find that family feel, that or that community, whatever you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? That helps you grow, right? Because the church should be, it's a place of development, of personal development, spiritual development.
I like that definition.
You know what I mean? And so if you look at it like that, and if you go to a church, big or small, and you get out there and you like, you know what, I can learn from this guy. You know what I'm saying? I think that's how that's the healthier way to look at it. Because if you examine just by
everything from the
exterior, yes, that's just a slippery slope, because that's just getting you off of alignment with what you should be focused on, which is your relationship with God. You feel me?
I got you. Okay. Oh, we're gonna do you gotta do it again. You gotta do it again.
Okay.
I'm with it.
Bo, thank you so much for coming.
No, I definitely enjoyed the conversation. It was educational. I learned a couple of things about it.
I appreciate you. I'm definitely going to have you back.
Do so.
You are my favorite critical thinker. You think of all the options, all the outcomes of all of the aspects, and that's why you had to be my first guest.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Right? For everybody else out there listening, I appreciate you for joining us as well. I hope that you found something stimulated, something stimulating in this conversation, and it was able to help you, bless you. If so, please like, please share, and definitely please subscribe, because we're gonna have more Bo, we're gonna have more opinions, more topics that are gonna empower you on your walk. Because I know this for sure. Loving God can be easy. Trusting God can be pretty hard, but we can all get there one step at a time on this Christian walk. See you next time.